Hello, Anders.
Hey, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. This is Renee with Meadow
You hear
Out.
me? Yeah, nice to hear from you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for taking some time out to talk about your new album coming out, which is titled Eder and Bio on November 27th.
Wait one moment. I'll try to find a better spot. I'm in a
Okay.
hotel
Oh,
making
okay.
music. Be where nobody else is to do this. Do you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you now. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
I'm literally in a hotel lobby
Oh, gotcha.
because the connection is better in the lobby than in the room. So
Maybe so. So,
yeah, no, yeah, I've been yeah, we basically we recorded a lot of songs in 2019, and two recordings were done, and that resulted in the album and the EP, basically. And things were supposed to be released in the other way around, but because of all the extraordinary things that happened this year, we switched it around. So the EP was first, and then the album. So, but anyway, you're right. It's been a very creative time, and I'm really happy to finally get to play this music for people so they can see what we've been up to.
yeah, for sure. Now, were all these songs written in the same time period, like recently since 2019, or have you been working on these albums for the past few years?
Yeah, no, we've been working on it since 16, basically.
Oh, okay.
But it's been a little bit stop and go because involvement with other projects and stuff. But when we finally had enough time to finalize songs and figure out what was supposed to be on the album, etc., we were pretty efficient. The recording time for the whole thing, the actual recording was maybe about 14 full recording days or something, and then mix came later. But we wanted everything to feel fresh and not overproduced and make it exciting. So that's what we aim to do.
Right. And that's something that is very refreshing. It seems more bands are heading kind of in that direction to where they're not overproducing their albums. They're aiming for a little bit more raw or live sounding feel.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. It also has to do with musicianship. When you have a drummer like Dirk Verber playing the drums, it would be insane to not take advantage of his pure creativity and his pure energy. That's where all the best music comes from. It's not supposed to be thought out way too much. It's all about feelings. So if it feels right, it's right, basically.
Right. And so, for since, you did have a pause in 2004, and now you're, of course, back with, with so much to give. This time around, like you mentioned, you do have Dirk Verberin. How did y'all guys come together? I mean, how did y'all meet up and, kind of embark on this journey here?
It began in 2014 when he was sitting in Frost with Saturicon on the 70,000 tons of metal cruise festival, and as he was doing that, he was on that boat with soul work and doing Saturicon music. He was obviously very busy playing with two bands on the same round, but we got enough time on our sleeve to talk about music and whatnot. So I discovered that he was a huge Cadaver fan, and at that time I had lots of ideas and songs sitting around. So he was just spontaneously, yeah, just send all the riffs to me and I'll drum on it. So he has his own studio set up, so I could just send him stuff and he would drum on it. And suddenly it just clicked, and I realized that this is the guy I've been looking for without looking for him.
Right. Well,
So without him, it would be like this is now. Throughout that period, when this was happening, there was no Megadeth in his life either. So uh, it's been a crazy ride where he went from being a very important drummer in the Swedish death metal band to drum for one of the biggest metal bands of all time, and we have our own little corner where we are just even me and creativity is something you cannot control. If you're in the right mood with the right people, it just happens, and then you just write and do stuff, and that's what all musicians really want to do, to create new stuff and be excited about it. So it's all about that, and that's the core issue why we do this. So I think it's perfect for us to have this as our truly creative outlet for the both of us.
Yeah, very cool. Now, with these new songs, did y'all co-write these songs together, or did you have the majority of the material already written?
It's been, I mean, without back and forth between us for arrangements and especially drum arrangements and all that, it wouldn't be like it is. So it's a true collaboration for sure. So drums are such an important instrument in this kind of music. I think this kind of music is where drums really becomes the factor that makes or breaks stuff. Because if you have a great drummer doing this, Dirk is truly one of the top 5 drummers in the whole world for metal, I would say, or even top 3 or top 1, I don't know. But I mean, for me, it's such a different thing if it was a different drummer. It's drums is the core issue of metal. I think people think about the guitars and the riffs, but I mean, without the right drums to it, it would be so different. If you look at anyone, like early Mode Angel with a different drum than Pete Sandoval is a very different scenario. Slayer with Dave Lombardo to me is totally different from Slayer with anyone else, stuff like that. So drummers are the key to originality and spark and flame with music as metal.
Right. Yeah, definitely does give that extra. I mean, without a good drummer, you're right. It's would just be any other band.
Yeah, or not really worth it.
Right. Now, from your newest album, you just released 2 weeks ago one of your singles. Now, how did that concept for that video come about?
It's the story is that it begins with us doing a photo shoot during the first recording period in 2019. Missy Stell, who's the brain and the creator behind Custom Arts, she was there doing the props for our photo shoot, and the creativity just clicked, and we immediately started to talk about doing a video. And I had like a vision of them just doing like a ritual, and I didn't really say anything else. I just wanted to have like a ritual done, because the song is about religion and rituals, and how we will, humankind always try to manipulate the elements and the world around us without really knowing what we do, basically.
Right.
And to have that materialize with their costumes and the kind of timeless need for spirituality, that's what I was aiming for, and they really pulled it off, so I'm really happy about the result.
Yeah, it's one of the very few videos where you click on YouTube and it says, "Are you sure you want to watch this video because it's very graphic?"
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's due to a little bit of nudity,
Right.
Which is kind of ironic, but it's never going to stop. I mean, people are. You can see man boobs, but you can't see female boobs, and it's still a thing. I have no idea why we are so stupid, but
Right.
Humans are just not capable of looking at bodies without thinking something. So we're just helpless
Yeah.
species.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
So all the morals that goes into this is hypocrisy upon hypocrisy.
Yeah.
So
No.
what can you do? It's YouTube is a Google company, and all these companies just control our lives, unfortunately, and all the morale in the world. Well, what can you do? You know.
Yeah, for sure. But looking at the comments, it seems the fans are really digging this new song. They're really enjoying it. Now, for
Yeah,
you,
yeah, cool.
yeah, for you as a musician, is that something that you worry about, releasing on the new single from, your new album? Is it something that you think about? It's like, are if the fans are going to be receptive to it, or you just put it out because you know that it's a good song?
I never really worry about how people are looking at things, to be honest, because if I really really like it and people around in the project really like it, we just know that that's going to work for our kind of people, and it's not supposed to work for everybody anyway. It's not mainstream, so
Yeah.
there's always going to be people that don't enjoy it or don't like it or don't appreciate it or whatever. But I mean, I never got into this kind of music to become popular like that. That would be the wrong way to put it.
Right.
You don't do extreme, out of the ordinary kind of stuff, thinking that this will, be something that my mom can relate to, or
Right.
It's a total different place.
Yes, I understand. Now, is there going to be a plan to release another single before the album comes out in November?
Yes, there is another video, a very different video coming on the song called Reborn. So that's going to be out in late October.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Now, you've been around for, over 30 years, which is, I mean, an accomplishment for any band and musician. Looking back on your previous albums, how do you think Eder and Bio compares to those?
To me, it's like a fresh start and a way to, develop the band into the future more than anything else. Having the catalog means also that we can play songs that people haven't heard live before in concert versions of what we're doing, and even maybe re-record some really really older stuff because it's been kind of hidden away or lost in time. So I have like a small vault of unused ideas and bits and pieces to take from as well, which is great to have. So I just want to develop the Cadaver universe into being something, a creative playground for me to move forward with and to enjoy, and hopefully more and more people will enjoy the same thing, and we can be able to go out and play live when this pandemic is over, and play places we never played before and all that stuff, and festivals. There's so much things we can do. It's just kind of limitless, which is nice to know.
Yeah, for sure. Now, and would that be one of the things that taking some of those old songs and re-recording them? Is that something that you've always thought about doing, or is this just something that now because of you have Dirk and it seems like you have a solid, foundation now that is this something you're able to do?
Yes, more the latter, yeah, because there's also we had some bad contracts in the past, so some of the music is lost in bad record contracts from the late 80s, beginning of the 90s, where the ownership of recordings are kind of lost in time, and there's been so many bootlegs and things as well, which I really like to restore our past, but really at the same time I really really want to look forward. But there's a lot of interesting things we can do, both with reissuing or re-recording some stuff, but most of all get new stuff done, which is most exciting. I never there was this festival, like online festival called Slay at Home with Metal Injection.
Oh yes.
So we did some live recordings of some old songs for that, and that made me realize that there's songs we have in the catalog that might be interesting to have in in those versions, or new versions or live versions. So there's always
Yeah.
just playing around.
Well, that's very nice to be. I mean, at least you're able to, having uh, some of those back catalogs in the kind of in the back pocket in a sense to where you're able to maybe improve on it or change it a little bit.
Sure. That is, I mean, in the film industry, they always make like remakes 30 years later or something,
Yeah.
Music is kind of in the same position because there's expressions and ways things are recorded in the past that you might want to move forward from, or you had some great ideas that didn't really come through in the right way, or there's all kinds of ways to look at it. But when you're making music, I'm writing, I'm kind of writing around in the same landscape as I've done in the past, and there might be things that I recognize from my own writing and I'm like, oh, I thought that's my own riff, but I can twist it a little bit around and make a new one from it. So I'm always doing that anyway. I think that's the key issue to how to be an original artist and to have your own voice. Basically, is to find your own voice within the framework of music. Basically.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the hardest things for a band to do is to, not only become known, but, just become known worldwide, which you've been able to do with Cadaver. What do you think has contributed to that? I mean, you're going past 30 years as a band.
I think it's in metal it's very good to become vintage. So time just helps you and. Being one of the earliest bands in the genre, we had room to do things which, the room was much bigger back then because there was literally less music and bands in the genre, so you could play much more around the concepts. And I think the advantage of being a band that's been around for a long time is that you can think of your music in a broader sense than maybe modern bands that kind of lock themselves into a much more narrow genre field, or they try to be too wide. There's a fine balance. So you need to figure out who you are, where you are doing your thing the best, and hopefully get as many as possible with you on that term. And that's really what it's all about.
Right.
So, and one thing which is an advantage is of course the band name in the 80s there were still good names to pick from, like one name, like one word names.
Right.
Nowadays if you want to have a one word name for your band that's not been taken, good luck to you.
Right, for sure. I've
you
seen.
call your band Bread or something.
Yeah, it's
Or High or like Loser.
Yeah, there's not many to choose from.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. Now,
When
what?
all these bands came, like with all these bands that came for, sometimes there was like bands with like the name was full sentence, like, as I lie dying.
Yes.
Band. It's like that. I didn't even understand it was a band name until that is the band's name. Okay, I was like, all right, as I lie. Yeah. That's just an example. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Ask Alexandria. I'm like, who?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm feeling old when I say that. Whatever.
Yeah, things have definitely changed. And
Yes.
yeah, and speaking of change, one of the things that I've seen that at least in Europe, some of the restrictions have started to ease up a little bit. Are you by any chance starting to maybe plan a tour later this year or early next year?
Yeah, we actually announced the show. You there? Yeah.
Yes.
We announced a show in Oslo in December.
Oh, okay.
So we were able to play live in front of 200 people sitting with a meter between them. So we'll do that to celebrate the album. But we actually have a tour in February, March, sitting in like a European tour, which has been moved one time already, but it's going to be with Atheist, which I don't know. It has, if you never plan for something to come up next year, it might, never. It feels like this is taking forever, but at some point in time, things are going to get more back to normal, and as we know, what nobody knows when that is, but we have to plan for it. So it's not like, suddenly we have to make a tour from scratch and then spend another half a year to wait. It's one of those things which is unpredictable right now. So we're planning things, but we never know when it's going to happen. But this show in Norway can happen.
Oh, very nice, very good. So it's speaking about making plans, or as a musician, you always have to have an outlet, and for you, and for a lot of musicians, it's hard not to be able to play live and get out there on the road. So how have you been keeping yourself busy?
Well, I've been busy, first of all, surviving cancer this year.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it's not sorry, because I'm cancer free.
Oh, excellent.
I got colon cancer diagnosed 1 year ago, so I actually spent first half year just with surgery and chemo. So when COVID came, I was already getting back out from serious illness. So to me, that it didn't really matter that the world stopped, because I stopped anyway.
Right.
So ever since summer, I've been busy planning those video clips, making new demos, rehearsing, and time just goes by anyway. You just keep yourself busy, be creative, and time flies.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're doing better.
Yeah, thank you very much.
That's a good thing. Of course, the exciting thing is that you have your Eder and Bio coming out on November 27th. So there is some pre-orders up. You got some vinyl coming out. What else can fans do to support Cadaver during this time?
Well, we have some merch stores and stuff like that too. So there's new merch coming out along with the album, and hopefully we'll actually start looking into recording another album within the next half year, I think, because we're already deep into new demos and stuff like that. So we're always kind of trying to be ahead of the curve, so to speak.
Right. Always have something in your pocket.
Yes, for sure. It's important to develop and move on.
Very nice. That's good to hear. So before we end our conversation, is there anything else that you would like to promote for the band, or any last parting words before we finish up?
No, I want to say that I want to really thank everybody who's been supportive of our stuff during this time, and hopefully we'll be out there playing live again. And I hope to see as many as possible when we do that. And until then, enjoy the album and the videos, and get some merch and spread the word.
For sure. Well, Anders, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. I wish you the best on your new release, and stay healthy out there.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. You take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.